Carl Jung made one observation about love that most modern dating advice refuses to repeat. He said we never choose a partner. We choose a mirror. And the mirror we choose is always the one we cannot yet see ourselves in clearly. If Jung studied your attraction patterns, he would not look at your taste. He would look at what your taste is hiding. He would not ask why you keep meeting the same person. He would ask what part of you keeps sending the invitation. This video is about that quiet, uncomfortable, transformative observation. Stay with me. It changes how you love. Jung lived through 2 world wars and decades of clinical practice. He watched hundreds of patients fall in love with the wrong person again and again. He noticed something strange. Their partners were different on the surface. Their pain was always identical underneath. The faces changed. The story did not. The wound did not. The role did not. He began to suspect that romantic attraction was not random. It was deeply intelligent. It was tracking something invisible. What it was tracking, he eventually called projection. And projection in love is the most misunderstood force in adult life. Most people think they fall in love with a person. Jung believed we fall in love with a piece of ourselves living inside that person. The piece we cannot yet hold, the piece we have buried, the piece we have not earned the right to claim yet. We see it shining inside someone else. We mistake the shine for them. We move toward what we think is them. But we are really moving toward our own reflection, and the relationship becomes a slow, painful mirror. This is the part most modern dating culture has no language for. It teaches compatibility. Jung was teaching unconscious recognition. He believed every person carries an inner counterpart. In men, he called it the Anima. In women, the Anima. This inner figure is not a partner. It is an archetype, a psychological blueprint of the opposite within you. You do not date a real person at first. You date the version of your own anima or animus you have projected onto them. That is why early love feels supernatural. You are not meeting someone new. You are meeting a hidden part of you wearing their face. But Jung discovered something even more uncomfortable about this pattern. The projection always cracks. The real person eventually steps out from behind the image, and the moment they do, most adults panic. They call it falling out of love. Jung would call it the beginning of seeing clearly. The disappointment you feel is not the end of love. It is the end of illusion, 2 very different events. Picture this. You meet someone. Within weeks, you feel they understand you in a way no one ever has. You feel chosen. You feel found. You feel like a missing piece has finally arrived. Then, somewhere between month 6 and year 2, something shifts. They start to feel like a stranger. They were never a stranger, they were always themselves. You were the one in costume. The costume was woven from your unmet needs, your unhealed parts, your unclaimed gold. Jung wrote about this in his clinical work with remarkable patience. He never blamed the patient for projecting. He said projection is the psyche's clumsy attempt to know itself. It throws what is inside outward, hoping you will recognize it. You do not recognize it as yourself. You recognize it as desire, as fate, as the one. And so you chase, you merge, you build a life around the mirror you do not know as a mirror. If you have ever noticed yourself drawn to the same kind of person again and again, you are not unlucky. You are loyal to a projection. The pattern is not the partner. The pattern is the unmet part of you that keeps casting the same role. Stay with me here. This next part will explain something about yourself you have never been able to articulate. The qualities you find most magnetic in others are almost always qualities you have disowned in yourself. If you fall for confidence, somewhere you have silenced your own. If you fall for sensitivity, somewhere you have hardened. If you fall for ambition, somewhere you have abandoned a dream. If you fall for freedom, somewhere you have caged yourself. The partner is not the answer. The partner is the announcement. They arrive carrying the message of what you have rejected. Jung called this the gold in the shadow. The traits you most envy or admire bury treasure inside you. You can spend a lifetime chasing them outside, or you can spend one honest season retrieving them within. Comment below with one word. Name the trait you are most drawn to in partners. That word is a clue. It is pointing to the part of you that wants to come home. Most adults will not write it. The ones who do begin to see. Now return with me to Jung's observation, because there is a second pattern he watched repeat. People do not only project the gold, they project the wound, and this is where attraction becomes destiny. If you were unseen as a child, you will be drawn to people who cannot see you. The familiarity feels like love. If you were dismissed, you will be drawn to those who dismiss. If you were chased for, you will chase. The psyche is not trying to hurt you. It is trying to finish an old story. It believes you can rewrite it through this new face. But the story cannot be finished through repetition. It can only be finished through recognition. And recognition begins in you. This is the part most modern therapy never quite reaches. The unconscious is not your enemy in love. It is a wise, ancient cartographer. It maps your wounds onto your partner so you finally have to look. You can hate this, or you can use it. Jung suggested the latter as the only mature path. What I'm about to share next is a practice Jung used with his patients that takes only one quiet evening. But before the practice, one more layer, because there is a question Jung would ask you that almost no one asks themselves. He would not ask who you are attracted to, he would ask who you become around them. Because the version of you that surfaces in attraction is the version your psyche believes it must wear to be loved. If you become small, you learn love required smallness. If you become caretaker, you learn love required usefulness. If you become entertainer, you learned love required performance. Each pattern is a clue, not a flaw. The work is not to stop being attracted. The work is to study the attraction as if it were a dream. Because in Jung's view, your love life is a dream you are walking through with your eyes open. Every partner is a symbol. Every conflict is a symbol. Every ending is a symbol pointing back to you. This does not mean people are not real. It means your experience of them is filtered through unfinished parts of you. When you integrate those parts, the filter dissolves. You begin to see people as they are, not as you need them to be. And here's where Jung's teaching becomes practical. Integration is not a feeling. It is a daily act of retrieval. Tonight, take one piece of paper. Write the names of 3 people you've been most drawn to in your life. Beside each name, write the one quality that pulled you in first, not the wound, the shine. Now sit with the list. Ask yourself a question Jung would ask. Where in my life have I refused to embody this quality? Do not rush the answer. Let the discomfort speak. The answer is the door to your own gold. For the next week, practice that one quality in small ways, not for a partner, for yourself. If it was confidence, speak one honest sentence a day. If it was creativity, make one ugly thing. If it was freedom, break one small rule. If it was tenderness, offer it to your own reflection first. This is how projection ends, not through avoiding attraction, through claiming what you have been outsourcing. Carl Jung would tell you this is the real love story of your life, the one with yourself. He would say your partners have been generous teachers, each one carrying a fragment of you back to your door. He would not shame you for missing it. He spent his whole life arguing that the unconscious is patient. It will keep sending the same person, in different bodies, until you finally turn toward your own reflection. The day you do, your attraction changes, not because your taste improves, because your hunger changes. You stop hunting for the missing piece. You become the piece. And then for the first time, you can meet another whole person. That is not a fantasy. That is individuation, the slow becoming of who you actually are. Jung believed this work was the only real adulthood. Everything else he said was sleeping while standing. So here is the question he would leave you with tonight. Not who is your type, not what is your pattern, but what part of you has been waiting in the faces of everyone you have ever loved. And are you finally ready to bring it home? The mirror has done its job. You can put it down now. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your messenger. It carries the gold you have been searching for in others. The work is to listen. The work is to retrieve. The work is to love yourself and to the person you keep meeting outside. This is the Archetype Code. Subscribe if you are ready to decode the rest of your inner world. And remember, you are not searching for the one, you are remembering the one you are always meant to become.